take a look at our field trip. During junior year, the class Shan usually goes on a trip to overseas for academic exchange. However, because of the COVID-19, we aren't able to fly overseas this year. We instead traveled for 7 days in Taiwan. We went to lots of places. We took notes and pictures everywhere we went. We also enjoyed the delicacies in these places. This trip, the most important itinerary was to communicate with the students of the Pingdong Girls Literature Gifted and Talented class. We saw them sharing their experiences of doing the many research and their presentation. We were also amazed by the view of their school. We became friends with them and still keep in touch. The 7-day trip did not only give us unforgettable memories but also broadened our horizons.
Class Shan has a very special tradition our sophomore and junior year. We go on a trip to Zhanghua, Shetou, to host a winter camp in the elementary school there. We call it service learning. At the very beginning of our semester, each of us has to choose which role we want to play in this year's service learning. There are 3 major jobs: curriculum group, activities group, and camp counselor. Then, in the coming months, we all have to prepare and rehearse for the winter camp we are going to host. Here comes the first day of our winter camp. We welcome the kids and lead them to the group they belong to. In this period of time, we chat with them and make them get along with their group mates. After all the kids have arrived, we guide them to sports field and lead them to do some morning exercises before the day starts. After that, we start the day with 4 different subjects of classes. They are English, crafting, science, and performing arts. At noon, teachers and us make lunch for all the people. We not only learn about how to cook, but also learn a more important lesson: never waste food. In the afternoon, kids are divided into groups to play wide games and bingo. At the end of the 2-day winter camp, students from景美and Nanya hold a performance to draw this winter camp to a perfect ending. Service learning is a tradition we've had for over a decade. Through service learning, we build a community that values action for benefiting each other and further learn the true meaning of service.
During and after the intermission, you saw the recordings of our field trip and learning service.
Yes, it's not hard to imagine. They take time-consuming preparation, but a rewarding learning experience.
When I was young, I dreamed of becoming capable and strong by working very hard.
You did? I only fantasize about being a beautiful princess waiting for my Prince Charming.
A truly noble princess does not only sit there and do nothing.
I know Christine admires such a princess.
Yes, she is telling us the adventures of Moana.
Let's welcome Christine Tang.
Hello everyone, my name is Christine. As a child, I was kind of different from kids my age. When they were fascinated by all the toys and cartoons, I was more enthusiastic about animals and nature. Ever since I was little, I have always had a pet around me. To me, animals are an indispensable part of my life. In the year of 2016, I found myself in a Disney movie, Moana. Just like her, I grew up in my entire life with pets and animals around me. Unlike other typical Disney princess movies, Moana does not wait for Prince Charming to come and save her life. Quite on the contrary, she was the one who went on a journey across the ocean to save all the people and Mother Nature. The story unfolds as Moana's grandma tells the folktale about how the demigod of the wind and sea, Maui, caused the great darkness by stealing the heart of Te Fiti. And the great darkness would continuously spread throughout the entire island if no one restored the heart of Te Fiti. Little Moana had determined that she needed to be the person who would find Maui and bring him back to restore the heart of Te Fiti when she first heard the story. After meeting Maui, Moana convinced him to go on the journey of restoring the heart of Te Fiti. At first, Maui was not willing to go on this journey with Moana. He was selfish. After conquering the obstacles on their way to find a heart in Maui's fishhook, Maui was moved by Moana's patience and was willing to assist Moana throughout the journey. At the end of the story, Moana and Maui were confronted with the strongest villain, Taka, who tried to take away Te Fiti's heart. However, Moana realized that Taka was actually cursed Te Fiti. She separated the ocean and let Taka come to her. After giving her the heart, Taka then transformed into the beautiful Mother Earth, Te Fiti. In the story, two characters have attracted my attention. Moana and Maui have very different personalities, and they advocate two different positions on environmental protection in the movie. Moana was an optimistic teenager who was filled with determination and bravery, which supported her throughout the journey of fighting for what she loved and cared about. We can see her determination through the action when she found out about the solution to save the island from being devastated by the great darkness. She determined to sail across the ocean to find Maui. Despite the fact that she might put herself in danger, she still has very strong determination. Being the demigod of the wind and sea, Maui could transform into any animal he wanted to be. He was a part of the environment. He was the bridge between humans and nature. However, he used his power against nature and exploited it due to his own selfishness. In the beginning of the story, Maui represents an ego-conscious state of mind. His action of stealing the heart of Te Fiti can show us his greediness, further indicating nature exploitation. However, after going through ups and downs with Moana, Maui was moved by Moana's patience and decided to assist her through the journey. At the end of the story, Maui's magical fishhook that gives him the power of transformation was destroyed when saving Moana during a confrontation with Taka. After losing his magical fishhook, his great power had faded away too. This action shows a lot of how Maui's mindset had changed throughout the journey. Maui's characteristic development can symbolize that humans are able to change their relationship and behavior towards nature, like Maui did too. By analyzing two main characters in the movie, I am inspired by the theme of the movie. Moana was a teenager, just like us, but her devotion to nature and the care she gave was much more than what the demigod Maui could do. Moana was adhering to nature and her people. She was overhuman. On the other hand, Maui conquered his own greed. He showed us that not all gods were perfect. They have their own flaws, just like us. However, they could change their bad behavior if they were willing to. In some way, Maui won the battle with himself and changed for the better. There should always be a value in the relationship between humans and nature. Humans should always find a way to strike a balance between their own good while nurturing nature. These are the results of not striking a balance between nature and humans. Humans have been exploiting nature for decades and decades, and have done countless horrible things to our Mother Earth. I think it is time that we take action and make a change. I believe that humans are able to change their relationship with nature, and further bring the common good for ourselves and our nature. I believe that if we all can take action to do something for our nature, even if it's something small, it will somewhat help our environment for the better. Thank you.
Magical! It's inspiring to see humans realize how to work hand in hand and live in harmony with our mother nature.
Right, we need to be humble. We're only muggles.
What is muggles?
Don't you know that? Don't you know Harry Potter and his friends? Come on, are you my generation?
I'll need to listen to Catherine. She knows the magical world.
Let's welcome Catherine Yan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Catherine. On the screen, you can see a series of numbers, which do not look coherent with each other, thus not meaningful. But if I give you a tip on how those numbers can be related, you must be able to identify some, if not all of them. Here's the tip. The news headline says, Cassie celebrates 20th anniversary of Harry Potter film series. Oh yes! This year marks the 20th anniversary since the first film adaptation of Harry Potter series, and 25th anniversary of the publication of the original book. Now, you realize what the digits refer to? The year, the office about success, and the platform to go to school, to name some of them. There's no denying that Harry Potter has shared his childhood and adolescence with my generation. Though not going to the same school, we know everything about his campus life, his classes, teachers, and friends. We had gone through every adventure together. We had grown up together. I have been a big fan of Harry Potter series. I read books and watch movies. I review them many times without feeling tired. When I was younger, I identified with Hermione and could imagine a conversation between her and Harry or Ron. The three main characters are without doubt the focus of fans like me. They are heroes of my generation. In a way, they have been my best friends since my childhood. I have acquired so much inspiration from them. All developmental psychologists agree that adolescence has been the critical period when a child transfers into an adult. It is at this stage he or she develops and establishes his or her own self-image. Very often, he or she will experience a memorable moment or significant incident and be inspired, turning into another brand new self. As in many cultures, as teenagers observe a rite of passage. They are heroes of their own stories, looking for the turning point, the moment of enlightenment. My beloved Harry Potter series are stories spanning over 29 years. Literally and literally, the main characters, as well as the loyal audience like me, have just been undergoing adolescent years. In the stories, the three characters, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, have reached their self-realization, established their self-image, and become a better self through their respective heroes' journey. The three characters come from families of three different classes. Each of them is aware of his or her identity. Harry is a half-blood wizard, Ron is a pure-blood wizard, and Hermione is a witch from her humble pure Muggle family. In the magic world, in Hogwarts School, the pure blood is known as the noble people, while those with Muggle blood are inferior. So the social hierarchy is clear. Pure blood, such as the villain character, Draco Malfoy, whose dad is a wizard and mom is a witch. Our hero, Harry Potter, is only a half-blood because his father is a wizard, but his parents of his mother's side were Muggles. The very controversial schoolteacher Snape and the ultimate villain, Mr. Unspeakable, belongs to her plot too. The lowest social class is Muggle-born. When parents can do magic but are usually happy to send their kid to learn to be wizards or witches. Our Hermione is a girl from such a humble origin. Harry is not despised in school although he is not a pureblood. In fact, he is famous because his late parents were figured in the Hall of Fame in the magic world. Legend goes that Harry used to survive Voldemort when he was a 1-year-old infant. He was a hero in the eldest generation, but not in his own self-identity, nor his peers. Ron Weasley should have been proud of himself, for he is a pureblood. However, he suffered like this. Malfoy does not regard Weasley as an upper class as he is only because the Weasley are a big family with a moderate income, and Mr. Weasley's job is something involving dealing with muggles. To the young reader's delight, it seems the ordinary people, Harry and Weasley, made friends with each other on the very first day of school. Likewise, Hermione Granger had to work extremely hard for fear of being looked down upon. A pure muggle is disadvantaged in the magic world. She is aware. She must be the cleverest and the best student. And she is. But she does not know how to be a popular student. Making friends is a tougher lesson for the nerd Hermione. It seems that the three main characters all have their own lesson to learn, during which their family influence continued to play a role. It turns out that Harry's parents, many years ago, passed away fighting against Voldemort. Ron's parents were their comrades. With their parents' past revealed, the two boys discover courage in the blood and thus upgrade their own humble self. Ron is a boy whose family fed him. There are 6 people in his home: parents, 2 brothers, and 1 sister. In this case, Ron always tried to prove himself. He wanted to become the best of the sibling. Here's the example. When he was standing in front of the mirror of Eris, he imagined that he is the prefect of Gryffindor and the captain of Quidditch. Ron's parents are also the member of the Phoenix, to some extent, that made Ron have the revolution of fighting Voldemort. As for Hermione, what her family can do is 100% supportive to afford her going to the school not of the level. The girl is consciously working hard and independently. Finally, everyone encounters his or her moment of test, the experience that will change them fundamentally and for good. The enlightening moment that changed Harry Potter the most took place when Harry had to fight against Voldemort face to face. Mighty Voldemort managed to sneak into Harry's mind and view Harry's memory. When Voldemort was about to claim his victory, taking over whole Harry's mind and body, Harry suddenly remembered a prophecy, which said that he owned one thing that Voldemort didn't have. He boldly challenged Voldemort. "You'll never know love or friendship, and I feel sorry for you." At this point, he realized what had saved him from the attack of Voldemort when he was a baby. He also got the power to fight back. Because of love, he conquered Voldemort for the 2nd time. Ron's scroll came around earlier, if not easier. In Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, they needed to play wizard chess to win that round over. At this time, Ron proved himself with excellent chess skill and sacrificed himself for his friend and justice. They won thanks to Ron's leadership. The youngest son from an ordinary wizard family had never expected himself to be a hero. Ron learning about his own potential and become more confident since. For Hermione, I think her most obvious turning point is the time when she was sad and hid in the ladies' restroom crying. She was upset because of the quarrel with Ron. However, at this time, a troll burglarized their campus and was about to assault whoever was in his way. In the ladies' room, Hermione was going to be the victim. Thanks to Harry and Ron, who arrived in time to help, she was safe, but 3 missed a class. Faced with angry teacher, Hermione defended for the boys, saying that it was her idea to excuse themselves from classes, and it was she that should take all the blame. From this accident, Hermione became different. She used to be a good girl who never broke rules and sometimes was calculative and selfish. In this incident, she reset her priority. She chose not to be a perfect, obey student anymore, but she won 2 best friends. I would say that I also graduated from Hogwarts because I have been through Harry Potter and his friends' adventures. Seeing their growth, I have been able to identify valuable characters like bravery, friendship, and a sense of justice. By analyzing the factors during their hero's journey, I came to know better about myself and what made me today. I determined to conquer myself, like Harry, appreciate who I am, like Ron, and enjoy long-lasting friendship like Hermione. Thank you, Harry Potter, and thank you all.
To me, the Harry Potter series are fascinating because there are stories full of imagination.
Besides the main characters, there are also creatures with very unique appearance. Some look weird. They are human-like, but ugly, you know?
In the real world, some people do look different, but they should not be discriminated against.
I see. And I believe Cassie will inspire us with more theories.
Let's welcome Cassie Lin.
Please look at this picture. Or this one? Or this? How do you feel about these pictures? Just imagine, if there's a person like these children next to you, or even your classmates, your kid. How do you feel? How will you act? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I'm going to talk about the psychology of empathy in the novel Wonder. And this is our story's hero, Augie. Wonder is a children's inspirational novel written by R.J. Palacio, published on 14 February 2012. It is a story of a 10-year-old boy, Augie, who was born with a congenital disease, craniofacial difference. Augie feels insecure about his appearance, which makes him isolate himself from others, and it causes him to avoid going to school. But things are a turning point. After he visits the school for the first time, he meets other kids, especially his future's best friend, Jackwell. After all, Augie starts his school life and meets all kinds of people. Whether they are friendly to Augie or not, they do impact Augie's school life and growth. Moreover, Wonder was the winner of the 2014 Men's Student Book Award, Berman's Dorothy Canfield Fisher Children's Book Award, the 2015 Mark Twain Award, Hawaii State Award, and the Junior Young Reader's Choice Award for 2015. In Ilonen, the book won both the Blue Stem and Cotta Awards in 2014. Initially, we have to have a sense of what empathy is. Empathy might be in our life, but sometimes we can't feel it, or we don't know that it is the empathy. In this speech, we're going to let you know more about empathy. First, we are going to know how empathy is different from sympathy. Empathy feels connection, and sympathy drives disconnection, said by Dr. Breen Brown. Literally, empathy means the ability to understand or feel others, and put yourself in someone's shoes. Sympathy refers to feeling bad for others. However, there are 3 attributes of empathy that have been elucidated by the psychologists. The first one goes to cognitive empathy. It is also known as perspective taking. It refers to listening to what others are going through. Effectively, cognitive empathy is empathy by thought, rather than by feeling. Besides, there's also a dark side of cognitive empathy. Torturers will need to have good cognitive empathy to work out how best to hurt someone, but without having any sympathy towards them, said by Goldman. The second one is emotional empathy, which is also known as affective empathy. Emotional empathy might be the first empathy we feel in our entire life. For example, when people are still in the infancy stage, they can catch their mother's facial expressions like smiling. They feel the emotion of happiness and smile at the same time. On the contrary, when mothers are in a mood or feeling anxious, they will be affected by the negative emotion and starting to wail. Finally, the last one goes to compassionate empathy, or you can call it empathic concern. It is a kind of empathy that is basically most acceptable. In my research, you can find out that there's different types of empathy when different characters are towards August. Whatever the type of empathy is, the main thing is that empathy not just plays an important role in the novel. Also in our life, it helps us understand how others are feeling so we can respond appropriately to the situation. It is typically associated with social behavior, and there is lots of research showing that greater empathy leads to more helpful behavior. According to WHO, 1 billion of people, or 15% of the world's population, experience some form of disability. They might just be in our life, so this is also an issue that everyone should think about. After my speech, I hope you all can have a great empathy to make good affection to others, just like what Summer, Henry, and Jackwell did. Thank you for listening.